Welcome to the Thailand International Mathematical Olympic mock examination for 2001 to 2002. This is for the student of primary 4. Now, this mock examination consists of 30 questions separated in 5 different topics. We have logical thinkings, we have arithmetic, number theory, geometry, and finally, combinatorics. And the time allowance for this mock examination is 90 minutes. Now, this is the same as the real examination. So you have 90 minutes to finish 30 questions, which means that you can only finish each question within the time allowance of 3 minutes. So please do consider the time constraint of it, as you have not a lot of time for you to finish this question. So if you have difficulties finishing one question, I would advise you to skip that question and to continue to the next one until you finish the whole paper. Okay, please do not just focus on one question. Now, I know that some students would really want to finish the question first, the questions in the first part before they proceed into the next question. Please do not do this in this competition because your time is of the essence. If you do not know how to do this, probably you will spend more than 3 minutes to finish that question, which is much more than what is allowed. Okay, so without further ado, let's go on to talk about the first question of the first one. Okay, which day of the week will 332 days later be? Now, day of the week is, as usual, from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, up to Saturday. And then they will go back into Sunday. So after every week, they will go back to the same day of the week, okay? So in here, we have 332 days. 352 days have passed. Oh, so most of you have answered as Sunday. No, let's check. Now, for those who do not know how to do this, the trick is to convert this number into the number of weeks and days. 352 days is the same as 50 weeks, and our 2 days. 50 weeks and our 2 days, right? So now we know that because after passing, every week is passed, the day of the week is unchanged, right? After passing a 1 week, the day of the week is unchanged. We go from Monday after passing 1 week and we will go back to Monday. If we start from Wednesday, after a week, we will go back to Wednesday. So the number of weeks that we have passed has no effect on the day of the week of our answer. So it all depends on the later part, which is our how many days that is not a complete week. So is the same. The day of the week after 332 days is the same as if it is just after 2 days. So we can count it directly. So we start from Friday, and then after a day, it will go to Saturday, and finally it will go to Sunday. So our answer is Sunday. Now, that's very good because most of you have answered this correctly. Okay, the answer is equals to Sunday. Okay, so let's go to our, yes, it's easy, right? Now let's go to our second question. Gabriel's father's age this year at 9 and then divided by 8 minus 2 and multiplied by 6, the result will be 18. How old is Gabriel's father this year? Okay.
1.
So now, although it asks for the age, so but in here we do not actually have anything to do with the age. It is just some numbers here. So we have a number. Yes, thank you. So if you would like to answer this question, please type it instead of saying it out loud during the classroom. As I've said, please instead type them out on the chat room, okay? So we have our Gabriel's father age, which is our green box, and we add 9, and then we will divide the whole thing by 8. We will divide the whole thing by 8. Okay, and then we will proceed to -2, and then we will instead going to multiply the whole thing by 6, okay? We will multiply the whole thing by 6. And what do we get? We get an answer which is our 18. This is, according to us, is equal to 18. Okay, what we want to do now is the method which we call a reduction. A reduction is we just follow the step that we do, and we want to reverse each step. We want to do the reversing the step that we have done, reversing the arithmetic that we have done. Okay, reversing the step. So in here we see that our number. Now let's just focus on this number. Let's just focus on the middle part of it. This number multiplied by 6 is equal to 18. So what's this number? This number must be 3, right? Because only 3 times 6 will be equals to 18. So by this, we have reversed one step. So again, let us go to the next step, which is the middle part. So which is this part. Because we have a number divided by 8 is equal to 3. So which means that this number must be equal to 24. Right? Because only 24 divided by 8 is equal to 3. Okay? So again, now let's go to our final step, which is our green number. We know that our green number, when it is added by 9, it is equals to 20. I'm sorry. I've skipped one of them. Because this number -2 is equal to 3, so which means that this number must be 5, right? This number must be 5. Okay, and then let us look at this part, the green part here. This number divided by 8 is equal to 5, which means that this number must be equal to 40. Okay, so finally, we know that some number plus 9 is equal to 40, which means that the number within it must be equals to 31. So again, most of you have got this answer correctly. The answer is exactly 31. Congratulations, okay? Again, not a difficult question. Oh, okay, so let's go to our third question. Okay, so for our third question, it requires 21 minutes to cut. If the time required to cut into each section is the same, how many minutes are required to cut into 5 sections? Now, again, you cannot stack the woods to cut them together. Now, this question is a tricky question. Now, this is not difficult, but it is tricky. Okay, this question is tricky. Now, the interesting thing of it is that we need to think about what do you mean by cutting a wood into
821 divided by 7.
Excuse me. Please, if you would like to answer this question, please answer them on the chat room. Please do not talk during the lessons, okay? Unless I ask you to do so. Okay, so in here we cut a piece of wood into exact. Notice how many cuts do we need? How many cuts do we need? Because if we have a single piece of wood, we don't need to cut it. They're already single pieces. If we want to cut it into 2 pieces, we will need to cut it one time. So if we want to cut it in 3 pieces, we need to cut them 2 times. So the number of cuts is different from the number of sections. They are different by 1. So in here, we only need to cut it 7 times, okay? So this is the most important observation of this question. For us to cut a piece of wood into 8 sections, we only need to cut it 7 times. But we cut it 7 times. How many minutes do we need for each cut? Because we cut it 7 times, it required 21 minutes. So it means that 3 minutes for each cut. Okay, for 3 minutes for each cut. Now, once we know this, then we can go on to talk about how many of them we have to spend, how many times we have to spend to cut it into 5 sectors. Because again, cutting into 5 sectors is to cut it 4 times, right? Not 5, but just 4. Once we know that it will be cut into 4 times, so we know that the time it takes must be equals to 4 times 3 of each cut, which is equal to 12. So our answer is exactly 12 minutes. Again, most of you have got it correctly. Congratulations. Okay. Very good. Okay, so let us go to our next question. Let us go to our next question, which is our question number 4. According to a pattern shown below, what is the number in the blanks? What's the number here? Now we need to focus on these numbers. We start from 4 and then to 5 and then to 8 and then to 13, 20, 29, 40, and so on. Now, every time if we do not know how to do this, is it advisable for you to start to look into the difference between neighboring number. Now, it's always the case. It is always the first step. It is always the first step that we would like to do. Look into the difference between the neighboring number. Now in here, we know that the difference between 4 and 5 is equal to 1. Okay, so, and the next number, 5 to 8, it will equal to 3. 8 to 13, it is equal to 5. And then 13 to 20 is equals to 7. And 20 to 19 is equal to 9, and then is equal to 11, and so on. So do you see the pattern here?
Is 13.
Notice that the difference, they follows a very, very obvious pattern. The difference are all odd number. They are all odd number. Not only they are all odd number, they are consecutive odd number. So if it starts from 1 and then 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, so what do you know? What you would guess about the next difference? Now, we are not talking about the number, we are talking about the difference. What is the next difference? It starts from 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 13, so they will be go to 13. So we know that of our green number, the difference between the green number and our 40 is equal to 13. Hence, our green number is equal to 53. Okay. So again, just a kind reminder. If you would like to answer this question, please answer them on the chat room instead of speaking out. Okay. 30. So our answer is 33. Now, this is not 13. 13 is only the difference. The difference is something that we would like to know in order to get our answer, but this is not the answer itself. The answer is 33. Okay. So let's go to our question 5. Let's go to our question number 5. Amy gets 38 marks in Chinese exam. No, 38 marks in Chinese exam, 85 in English, 77 in mathematics, If he has an average of 74 marks in all of this, how many marks did he get in general study? Now, what do you mean? Now, whenever you see something like this, you see the question, you need to ask, wait, what does that mean? In particular, what do you mean by an average? An average is when you add up the total and then divide the number of terms, right? Average is equal to the total divided by the number of terms. This is the definition of average. So if we reverse this number, so which means that the total is actually equals to our average times our number of terms. So in this question, what is the average? The average is equals to 74, right? Because the question gave you 74. But how many terms are there within this question? It is 4 terms. So the total will be equal to 74 times 4, or in the other word, it will be equals to 296. So this is the total. This is total points of all 4 subjects that Amy have get. Okay, but now let us rewrite the total as the sum of the separate terms. Let us rewrite this. Now, because what do you mean by total? The total means that the number of the marks that Amy gets for each.
Triệu chắc khoảng hơn 100.000 người ở đây bộ. Chia làm các phòng, mỗi phòng có khoảng 200 người. Quay tắt đấy, tắt mic đi bạn ơi. Turn off your mic.
Okay.
Ngoài bạn ơi.
Okay, so this would be Chinese plus our English plus our math plus our general study. It would be equals to our total, which is 296. But we do know what is the point of this 3 subject, which is Chinese, English, and mathematics. Now, for our Chinese, it is equals to 58. For our English, it will be equals to 85. For our mathematics, it will be 77. But the only thing that we do not know is our general study, right? So we know that our general study plus all this will be equals to 296. So all we need to do is just subtracting our 296 by our 38, 85, and then 77, and we will get our answer. So what is our answer? So we will just subtract it. It is from for our 296 minus our 296 minus our 38 minus our 85 minus our 77, and hence you will get our answer, which is equal to 76. So hence 76 is our answer in here. Okay, so this is our question number 5. Good, very good. Everyone have done very well for this 5 questions. So let's go to our last question to see whether you can finish all this with ease. Okay, so let's go to our last question. Our last question is question number 6 in this part. There are in total 45 chickens and rabbits in a farm. The animal have a total of 114 eggs. How many chickens are there? Now, every time we see a question like this, we would like to draw a diagram for it. Now, you see, you have 2 information here. One is there are 45 animals in here, and the other is that they have a total of 114 eggs. So let's draw a diagram for it. Now, it is not required for you to draw a diagram. You can instead using the equations to do this, but I would like you to I would like to use the diagram to do this because it is much easier to follow. Okay, so the first equation is that the rabbit, our rabbit, and our chicken is the number of rabbit and two chicken. Rabbit and chicken is equal to 45. Now this is given to us by the question. Number of chickens and rabbits is equal to 45. And the next information we know is that they have a total of 140 legs. Okay, so the second information. Now, during the examination, you do not need to write it down. I write it down here is just for clear referencing. It is easier for you you don't need to look back into a paper to know what's going on. Now, whenever we have this, we would like to draw a diagram, which is our number of chickens and the number of rabbits. Number of chicken and rabbit. And then we would like to know how many total legs that they have. Okay. Remember that if we have chickens, then we will have the chicken legs. We have the rabbit, we have the rabbit leg. Okay, so now the green number are here just for reference. Now you don't need to write it down here, but it would be nice for you to write down here because it will be very easy for you to get the total legs after we have done. So in here, let us draw a table for this. Let's draw a table for this. Now, what do we want to do here? We want to focus on the fact that we want the part in here to be always true. We want this part to be always true, and then we modify the number of chickens and rabbits such that they will have the total legs such that the number of legs is equal to 120. Okay, so what's the easiest way of doing this? Now some of you have already started drawing on the screen for the correct answer. Please do not draw it first because I would like to demonstrate how to do it for students that do not know how to do that. Now in here, in order for the number of rabbit and chicken they have in 45 in total, let us think of a trivial example of it. Let us say that they have 0 chickens and 45 rabbits. Now this is trivial, right? Of course, in this case, they will have 45 in total. This is always true, right? But then I would like to ask, what is the number of legs for chickens and leg on rabbit in this case? Now, because there are no chickens in here, of course they have 0 legs. And for a rabbit, because there are 45 of them, then it will be equal to 45 times 4, which is equal to 180. Right? It will be equal to 180. So how many of them in total? How many of them in total? The number of in total is actually equal to 180. Now, is this one the number that we want? Is this the number that we want?
No.
No, right? No. So instead, we would like to modify this such that, excuse me, could you please stop drawing on the screen? Could you please stop drawing on the screen? Please be considerate and do not draw on the screen. Okay, so now we want to modify it. We want to modify it because we know that, because we cannot have all of them as rabbit as it will have too many legs. Let us just now add 1 for our chicken. But we do know that the number of rabbit must be, the total number of rabbit and chicken must be equals to 45. So if we need to add 1 for rabbit, or add 1 for chicken, we need to subtract 1 for our rabbit. So in total, it would be equals to 1 in here, and we will have 44 rabbits. In here. Okay. So for our legs, it will be because we know that there are 1 chicken here, each chicken will have 2 legs. So, but for our rabbit, because there are only 44 rabbits, and so with 44 times 4, it will be 176. Okay, it will be 176. So in total, it would be 176 plus 2, which is equals to 178. Okay. So they are 178. Excuse me, can you stop drawing on the screen? Thank you. Now, there are 178 legs in total if there are 1 chicken and 44 rabbits. But let us try to compare these two. Let's try to compare these two. And then we will see a very important pattern in here. Now, if we add 1 chicken, if we add 1 chicken, and what do we get? We have 2 less legs, okay? Now, this is the most important observation. This is the most important observation that we get. If we have 1 more chicken, it will have 2 less legs. Okay. So if we now try to add 1 more chicken in here, what would be the total number of legs? Now, if we add 1 more in here, now let us, if we add 1 more in here, so instead of 1, now let us modify it into 2. So if it is 2 now, and it will have only 43 rabbits in here. But then the number of legs for these 2 cases will be equals to 3 and 172. And so the total is equals to, it is equals to 4 and 172. So in total, it will be only 176. Again, it will be 2 less than 178. So whenever we add 1 chicken, we have 2 less legs. So now, after we understand this pattern, we want to see how many changes do we need in order to change it to our objective. Now, remember what's our objective? Our objective is in here, 140 legs, okay? So our objective is in here, 140 legs. So if we want to change it into our 140 legs, so how many change do we need? Because we know that they are different by 40. They're different by 40. But whenever we add 1 chicken, we will decrease it by 2. So how much chicken do we need to add in order for it to be minus 40? So we need to change 20 times. Okay?
Teacher, I have a question po.
Yes.
Wait, why if we add 1 chicken we have 2 less legs?
Now, in here, notice that in here, because in here, if we add 1 chicken in here, we don't just add 1 chicken in here, because we need to make sure that this is correct. The number of chickens and the number of rabbits, they are in total 45. So you don't just add a chicken. You need to get rid of one rabbit. So it's not just add a chicken. Whenever you add a chicken, you need to subtract one rabbit. So although if you have one more chicken, you will have 2 more legs. But since you have 1 less rabbit, you will have 4 less legs for the rabbit. So in total, it will be 2 less legs. Remember, we want the part which we highlight in blue to be always true. The number of rabbits and chicken must be 45. So whenever we add 1 chicken, we need to subtract 1 rabbit. So that's why whenever we add 1 chicken, we will have 2 less legs. So in here, because the total number of legs we want is 140. So we need to subtract it from 180 down to 140. We need to subtract it for 40, which means that each time we subtract it, we will subtract it by 2, which means that we need to change 20 times. But what does that mean? We change 20 times, which means that we need to start from the chicken, which is from 0. We need to add 20 times, right? We need to change 20 times. But what does it mean for changing 20 times? We need to add this 1 for 20 times. Hence, finally, we will get our answer. And our answer is that we start from 0 and work our way to the final answer, which is our 20 in here. But remember, if we have 20 in chickens, the number of chickens and the number of rabbits must add up to 45. So it means that we need to subtract 20 from rabbits, or in other words, it will only have 25 rabbits. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
So this is our answer. We have 20 chickens and we have 25 rabbits. Okay? So now, if you are not so sure about your answer, it is always good for you to check the number of legs in here. So if you check your number of legs in here, for our 20 chickens, it will be 40 legs, right? It will be 40 legs. And for our 25 rabbits, it would be 25 times 4, it will be equals 100, and they sum up to 120, exactly as the question required. So our answer is 20 chickens and 25 legs. Okay, now this is the way for you to finish this kind of questions. Now this is not the only way of doing this. Some of you may learn how to use equation to solve it, but in here we will just use a simpler method, which is just by drawing the diagram. So the answer is equal to 20 for chickens.
Can you speak?
Now, do remember that in here, we are asking you how many chickens are there. Here, we are not asking you how many rabbits are there. So you only need to write down the number of chickens in here, okay? Okay, so now we have finished our first part, which is logical thinking. Now let us go on to arithmetic. Let's go on to arithmetic. Yes, is there any questions?
Yes, can you speak slower because you are speak too faster and I can't hear you.
Oh, okay. Okay, I would speak slower. Okay, so is there any questions on the first part, logical thinking? If no, then we will go on to talk about arithmetic. Okay, let's go on to talk about question number 7. Question number 7. Just one kind reminder.
36 trừ 13 cộng 18 trừ 25 trừ 7.
Stop. Now, please stop talking during the lesson because I can't.
12 nháp thì sẽ
Others will...
Em hỏi con turn off your mic. Em hỏi con off your mic. Ơi. Turn off your mic. Turn off your mic, please.
Okay. Now, please do not talk during the lesson and please stop spamming on the chat room because other students are asking me questions during in the chat rooms, and if you are spamming and I cannot read all this comment all comment within a very short period of time, please stop spamming on the chat room. Okay, let's go to our question number 7. Let's go on to question number 7. Find the value of this. Now, this question is all about a simple rules. The so-called the distributive laws of distribution, or sometimes we'll call it a distributive law. Now, what does this mean? It means that now let's just give you a very simple idea. Is, for example, if you want to add this number before you try to multiply it, you can always change the order of your multiplication and your addition by trying to actually replace this, try to multiply this 2 within each and every term of the summation. Okay, so this answer will be equals to 2 times 3 plus 2 times 7. Okay, so this is the law of distribution. But what we want to do now, is the reverse of it. Now in here, you can see that there are something common. They are all divided by 7. They are all divided by 7, right? So since they are in common, so we can do a reverse of the law of distribution and to rewrite this number. So to rewrite this number in the following thing, it will be 30, we'll depict out the divided by 7, and we will rewrite it as 36 plus 13 plus 18 minus 25. And then after we have calculated the addition and subtraction, and finally we will divide it by 7. Okay, we'll divide it by 7.
There.
Yes.
My questions are different.
The questions are different? What do you mean?
This is at my paper. It is not the same questions.
Excuse me. This would be very, very strange. This should be our.
Are you sure you in primary 4?
Yes. Are you sure in primary 4? This
yes.
You should. No. This is our question number 7. Okay. So if you have any question, if you find that you're using a different version, which is strange, you may. Now please focus on the screen first. Now. Please focus on the screen first. Now in here, all we need to do is to calculate the number within it, which is 36 plus 13 plus 18 minus 25. And now this calculation is simple. We can simply add them and subtract them, and we will find out the answer for within our bracket. It will be equals to 42. This would be equal to 42. So the whole thing will be equal to 42 divided by 7, and hence our answer is equal to 6. Now notice that this one, the part in here, is after we add it and subtract, it will be equal to 42, and finally we will divide it. Okay, this is the laws of distribution. This is the law of distribution. Okay, so now let's look at question number 8. Let's look at question number 8. Find the values of 17 plus 20 plus 23 plus 26 plus 29 up until 44. Now, there are two major ways of doing it. Now, the first one is the simpler one is simply to sum to 10. Now, there are techniques which we call the sum to 10. Now, what do you mean? It means that we try to sum the number which the last digit, sum the numbers which last digit is summed to 10. Now, what does that mean? What does this sentence statement mean? It means the following. Now, notice that for this number, consider this pair of our 17 and then 23. And for our 26 and 44. And for our 29 and 41, right? And for our 32 and then our 38. Now notice that if we sum this number first, what will happen? Yes.
Can you do something for to keep everyone don't spamming? Can you disable the chat?
Can you just make it so you can only chat the host spot?
But I'm sorry because if I do not allow students to check, and then I don't know what questions that then they would like to ask. Because this is the only way other than speaking directly for you to ask the question.
But I think they can raise hands.
You can change the mode.
Teacher, can you close chats?
Like chat to everyone, just chat to you. Can
Yes.
you
Make everyone chat to
the
us.
host? Can you make the chat to the host? Can you change the mode only can chat for you?
Can you change it such that they can only check for me or for me? But you can select okay, you can select them during the chat because most of you actually check it only to me. Okay. Okay, so let's continue back in this question. Now, if we sum up the pairs in orange, it will get 40. If we sum up the pairs in green, in blue, it will be 70. If we sum up the pairs in red, it will be again 70. And if we sum up the numbers in green, it will be again 70. And finally, we still have two extra numbers we have, which is our 20 and our 35. Okay, so by this then, now notice that because they are all summed into, now notice that why we want to sum it by 10, because now you can see they have a very nice property. They all have the last digit as 0. And because the last digit is 0, it is much easier for you to just sum it. It's very easy for you to sum it. So this is 40 times plus 70 plus 70 plus 70 is just 4 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7, which is equals to 250. Okay, so it is 250 plus 20 plus 35, and hence the answer is exactly equals to 305. So 305 is our answer. Okay. Now this is not the only way of doing this. This is not the only way of doing this. Now later on, we will talk about this is so-called a arithmetic series. This is so-called arithmetic series. And for arithmetic series, there are ways, there are equations to do this sum very quickly. But in here, I just want to remind you that you can do it using simple method, just by sum to 10. Now, again, this is not the only method of doing this. Now, later on, we will talk about the other method in the following questions. Okay, so let's go to question number 9. Question number 9. Find the value of this number. Now, this question number 9, is the same as question number 7. Again, we would like to talk about the laws of distribution. Remember that when we talk about law of distribution, if they are multiplying the same number, or as in question number 7, they are dividing the same number, we can pick it out first, right? We can pick them out. And then we do the adding and subtracting first before we try to multiply the number. Okay, so in here, we also want to do this, but if you look at our question 9, you do not find any number which are in common. All these terms do not have numbers common at first glance, but they do have. How we know is by modifying this statement. We modify this statement, and we will like to write it as the following. So we will write out 33 into 3 times 11. We will write out 77 as 11 times 7. And we will write it as our 154 into 11 times 14. Okay, now let us highlight it first. Our 33 is our 3 times 11. Our 77 is our 11 times 7. And our 154 is 11 times 14. But now by writing in this form, we can clearly see that they are something in common. In each of this term, it is this multiplied by 11. So we can, just like we are doing in our question number 7, we can pick this number out. We can pick this number out. And hence, what we have left is just a simple number. It's just a simple number. So in our first case, first term, because we have picked our first number out, our 11 out, we have picked out 11 out. So what it remains is this term, right? What it remains is this term, our 14 times 3. But what is 14 times 3, you may ask? This is exactly equals to 42. All right? So for our second term, what it remains is 7 times 12. But what is 7 times 12, you may ask? It is exactly equals to 84. And for our final term, what remains is 14 times 4. Again, what is this term? This term is equals to 56. So all we need to do is just add these things up and then multiply by 11. If we add this 42 plus our 84 plus our 56, and what we get would be equals to
39.
What we get, because 86 plus 50, 84 plus our 56, it is equals to our 140. So if we add 42, it will be 182. Right? And finally, we will multiply this by 11. And hence what we get is 182 multiplied by 11. And hence our answer is equals to 2002. Okay, so this is our answer. This is our answer. Now, this is also the making use of our laws of distribution. Now, this is not the only way for you to do this. In fact, if you are if you are careful enough, you can see that instead of picking 11, you can actually pick 77, or better yet, 154. But then this is the story of a later question. Okay, so this is question 9. Let's go to question number 10. Find the value of this number. Now, usually for this kind of question, you need to calculate by hand. But for this, in these cases, it may be easier for you to make use of the laws of distribution to make it an easier number. Now, because we know that 143 is very close to our 150, it was just different by 7. So let us rewrite it in this way. It will be 143 is equal to 150 minus 7. How about 168? 168 is 170 minus 2. So by this, we can separate this question into different parts. We can expand this and to get 150 times 170 minus our 7, our 150 times 2, minus 170 times 7, plus our 7 times 2. Now, you may find that, wait, isn't it more difficult? Strangely speaking, no. Why? Because it is much easier because most of this number have a 0 at the end. So instead of multiplying 150 times 170, it is just 15 times 17, which is 255, right? So this will be 25500 for the first term. The second term is 300. Our third term is just only 17 times 7, and then we add a 0 at the very end. So it would be 1190, and finally, we add back 14. And this, my friends, will be our answer. So our answer will be equals to 24024. Okay, it will be 24024. Now, of course, this is not the only way of doing this, but the other way of doing this requires you to know a very specific terms of number, which is, if you want to do it in other way, you need to know that there are three numbers, when they are multiplied together, they get a very specific result. A 7 times 11 times 13 is equal to 1/1. So another way of doing this question is just to rewrite our equation into this form. So another way of doing this is just, we know that 143 times 168. What is 143? 143 is 11 times 13. How about 163? 168. 168 is 7 times 24. Okay, so once we know that this part is equal to this, and this part is equal to this, we can make use of this identity. 7 times 11 times 13 is equal to 1/1, and hence we multiply this together, and hence our answer will be equals to 1/1 times 24, and hence it will be 24024. Now, this is another way of doing this, but this way is much more difficult because you need to know this identity. So if you do not know this identity, you can always go back to a simpler method, which is make use of our distributive law. Okay? So let's go to our question 11. Let's go to our question 11. Find the value of this sum. Find the value of this sum. Now, notice that this one, for question 11, this one is very similar to the question that we have seen before, which is our question 8. Our question 11 is very similar to our question 8. Now, remember that in question 8, I say that there are another method to do this. Another method to do question 8. So here we will demonstrate the other method. Now, in order for you to know, you need to first understand what does this number be? What is this number? These numbers are called an arithmetic series. Now, what do we mean by arithmetic series? Arithmetic series is the way of saying that every neighboring number, every neighboring pairs, they all has the same difference. Okay. Okay. Every neighboring number has the same difference. Okay, so what's your question? What's your question? So is that a question in here? If so, what's your question? Excuse me, do anyone of you have any questions in here?
No.
If no, then we'll continue. So every neighboring number have the same, every neighboring pairs have the same difference. This is the meaning of arithmetic series.
Teacher, I have a question.
So what's the question?
I understand the lesson, but I want to ask when we finish.
Oh, we will finish it at 15 past 1.
Okay.
1:15, okay? Now, every neighboring pairs have the same difference, so you can see that our 55 and
we will end it at 1:30.
Oh no, 1:15.
Okay.
Okay, so you can see that the next pair of this at 51 and 47, they are all different by 4. So they all have the same difference. What is the same? What's the difference in here? The difference in here is 4. Now this is sometimes referred as the common difference. They are referred as the common difference. Okay, so whenever we know we have a arithmetic sequence, the sum of arithmetic sequence, the sum can be found by using a formula. The formula is the sum is equals to our first term plus our last term times the number of terms and then divided by 2. This is the equation for finding the sum of an arithmetic series. Now, in this case, the first term in here is 55. The last term is 3. But we still need to know the number of terms. How many numbers are here? Now, you can list it out and count them, but there are another formula for this. The number of terms is equals to our last term minus our first term and then divided by our difference. Now remember that in here, the difference is equal to 4, and then finally we add back 1. Now do remember to add this 1. So if we calculate it, and hence in here, we know that our last term as our first term is equals to 52 divided by 4 plus 1, and hence our answer will be equals to 14. So we know that the number of terms in here is 14, and finally we can get our answer. So our sum will be equals to our 58 times 7. Our 58 times 7, and hence our answer will be equals to 406. Okay, so this is our sum. Okay. Okay, so let's go to our question 12. Let's go to our question 12. Find the value. Excuse me, what's your question?
I think this class ends at 20:15.
Yes. All right.
Excuse me,
I
what?
think
I see it at 12:15.
No, it is 58 times 7, right? So this is 406. This is 406. No, this is 406. Okay. So let's go to our question 12. Find the value of 11 times 222 times 333. So now this one is, there is not many methods that you can do. You can only multiply them by hand, but it will be nice for you to multiply the two major terms first, because multiplying by 11 is simple. So it will be 11 times, what is the answer of 222 multiplied by our 33? 222 times 333, and hence it will be equals to our 73926. So again, and then you will multiply by 11, and hence it will get a 813186. Now this is one way of doing this. You multiply the terms one by one. Now the other way of doing this is you separate them into different parts. You change it into 11 times 2 times 3 1, and then times 3, and then times 4 1. Now this is another way of do this, because why do we want to do this? Because it is actually, there are patterns for us to multiply 11 by 111, and we multiply these together. There are patterns. So if we multiply 11 by 111, and the answer will be 1221. So it will be 1221 multiplied by 1111, and then finally multiplied by 6. Now what do we get? So you will get our 1356531. And then multiply by 6. And both of this answer will yield you the exactly same answer. They will be equal to 31518131886. Oh, no, it is. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I think I have miscalculated. It should be 8139. Yes, I typed out the line 8139136. 186. Okay. So this, yeah, because I type out 1 less 9 here. So it will be, if 222 multiplied by 3333, it will be 739926, and then multiplied by 11, it will be 8139186. Okay. So this is the end of arithmetic. So because time is of the essence, then we will speed up and finish the remaining paper. Okay. So this is the part of number theory. So the sum of two positive numbers A and B is 348. A is 11 times of B. Find A. So that is not difficult, because A is 11 times of B. So what do you mean by A plus B? So we can rewrite this equation here. We can rewrite this equation in this A plus B. But what is A? A is 11B, right? So it will be 11B plus B. It is equals to 12B. 12B is equals to 348. So what is B?
348 divided
348
Divided by 12, right?
12.
Okay. So
Yeah.
So our answer should be B is equals to 348 divided by 12. And hence we will get our answer, which is our 29. Now, notice that in here, we do not want the answer of B. What we want is answer of A. So what is A? A is equals to 11B, and hence it will be equals to 319. Okay? So this is the answer of question 13. Now, let's go on to find the answer of question 14. Now, again, this is a very, very large number because we multiply 2021 4 together, and then we multiply 2021 7 together. But instead of writing this, let us rewrite this into the following.
Excuse me.
Excuse me, your question is?
In the mock paper, it says it's 2022.
No, this is 2021. As shown on the screen. Are you sure this is 2022?
Yes.
This is 2021.
My mock paper is 2021.
My mock paper has 2021, but it is 2021 for me.
Yes, this is 2021. I'm not too sure, but as you can as shown on the screen, this is 2021 4 and 2021 7. Okay, so let us now the logic is the same, so don't worry. Later on, we will find that they both have the same answer. Oh, well, how marvelous is that? Now, instead of multiplying all 4s together first, and then we multiply all 7, let us instead we parry the 4 and 7 together. So it will be 4 times 7 times our 4 times 7 times our 4 times 7, and so on and so forth until our last term. So how many 4 times 7 I add here?
28.
No, not just 28. No, not just 28. It is
8.
I'm not asking you the value of it. I'm asking how many terms?
2021.
2021.
2021.
So in here, but we also know that all this number has a unit digit as 8, right? So these are all 28. But the 2 is not important. The 2 is not important here. The first number is not important here because it does not affect the unit digit. So we can rewrite it as, okay, so this will be the same as 8 times 8
times 8 times 8 times 8.
8 times 8 and
Times 8.
for how many 8?
2021 8.
2021 8.
8.
Okay.
The answer is 8.
Oh, okay. So excuse me, and if you have no questions, please try to make use of the chat room. Okay. Okay. So this is 2021 8. Okay, we have 2021 8. So, but let us find the pattern of the 8 multiplying together. So let us write it on our left-hand side. If we have an 8, if we multiply 2 8, it will get our last digit as 4, right? Because it will be 64. Yes. But if we multiply 3 8 together, it will be the same as 4, the last digit as 4 multiplied by 8, which is the same as 2. So if we multiply 4 8 together, it would be the same as 2 multiplied by 8. It will be equal to 6. And finally, if we multiply,
Eight.
it would be
Eight.
yeah, it will go back to 8. Just the same as our first term.
Teacher, can I go to the toilet?
Excuse me, what's your question, please?
What was can
Quarter.
I don't understand. What do you mean?
Can I go to the toilet?
Of course. Yes, of course. But do remember to come back early, okay? So now, now notice that in here, they will repeat itself for every four terms. So this 2021 terms is exactly the same as our first term, as our one term, because they keep on repeating itself every 4 different terms, okay? So we know that this number will then just be the same as simply 8. So our answer for this question is equals to 8. Okay, so this is the answer of question 14. Okay, so let us look into our next question. Let us look into our next questions. Question 15.
Teacher,
Yes?
how many questions do we have?
30. We are almost done half of them, okay? We are almost done half of them. We need to be hurry, okay?
30 questions. Teacher, there are 30. Is there 30?
Yes, there are 30 questions.
Oh.
Okay, so let us look at question 15.
What time do we
Question
end the
15,
class?
we have 15 past 1, okay? 15 past 1. If the 9-digit number is divisible by 9, find the maximum value of A. Now in here, it is talk about divisibility. It was talk about divisibility. Now what is the divisibility? If a number is divisible by 9,
Teacher,
which
Mango,
means,
please.
excuse me, what's your question? What is your question?
Mango, please.
Oh yes, you can go whatever you want, okay? So when a number is divisible by 9, the sum of digits is also divisible by 9.
Sir.
Yes?
No minus for wrong score, for wrong equation.
Excuse me, what, can you repeat one more time?
No minus score for no minus score for wrong equation.
Excuse me, could you please type them out? I can't understand what you're talking.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. So I'll reply later. So now the most important thing of you to understand it, when a number is divisible by 9, when a number is divisible by 9, the sum of this digit is also divisible by 9. Okay. So in here, what is the sum of the digit? It will be 2 plus 2, 3 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 7 plus 8 plus 4 plus 6 plus 9. It is divisible by 9. But what is this?
Teacher, they're spamming in the chat box.
Okay. Now, please stop spamming on the chat room, because if you're spamming, we do not know all people or all other students that need to ask me questions. Okay. Please stop spamming now.
Teacher, they won't stop.
Okay, so now let's go back to our questions. Is 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 7 plus 4 plus 6 plus 9. And if we add them together, what we get is the following. what we get is that is our
31 plus 8.
Yes, this is our 31 plus 8. So if we sum them all up, (31 plus 8). But 41 plus 8, because this number is divisible by our 9, this number can only be equal to 36. Now, it cannot be too big. It cannot be 45, because 45, no numbers of a unit digit can add, when added with 31, will get us 45. So the only answer for it is to 36. So what we mean is that our A must be equals to 5. So this is our answer.
Teacher, like why can't it be 33?
But this need to be divisible by 9.
Oh.
Okay. Okay, so question 16. Now we have finished half of them. So we need to hurry and finish the remaining half. Okay, so for question 16, define the operation symbol A times B is equal to 3 times A times B minus B plus 5. Now, whenever we see this, all we need to do is just follow the instruction. What is 2 crossing 5? We follow the instruction. So it would be equals to our, because in this case, the A is 2 and the B is 5. So it will be equal to 3 times 2 times 5 minus our 5 plus 5. So it will be equals to our 30 minus 10, and hence it will be equals to 20, right? We just follow the instruction. We just follow the instruction. Okay, yeah. So we know that this is equal to 20. Is there any question in here?
So may I go out?
Yes, yes, sure, please. So now, after we finish it, we can... Now, after this...
Sir.
Bruh.
After this, we can now find out what is the meaning of 20 crossing 3. Now for 20 crossing 3, we again go back to our definition. It would be equals to our... Excuse me, could you please stop talking? I'm trying to finish this part. So this will be equals to 180 minus 8, and hence our answer is 172. So 172 is our answer here. So we just do it 2 times, following the instruction, following the meaning of this operation, and we do it 2 times, and we will get our answer. Okay. Okay, so let's go to our next question. Let's go to our next question, which is our question number 17.
No.
Okay, so question number 17. Oh, and for all of you that would like to go to the toilet or go to the bar, go to a restroom, and you can go it now, okay? And remember to come back later, come back as soon as possible. Okay, so for question 17, how many 2-digit number either divided by 3 or divided by 5 are there? So, because now in here, now this is a question, this is a very difficult question because we need to consider 2 different things. You need to divide by 3 or divide by 5. So let us talk about how many numbers are there and can be divided. Is divisible by 3. A number is divisible by 3 is exactly starting from our 99 up until to our 10. So it will be 90 divided by 3, and hence it will be equals to 30. So for our number which is divisible by 5, it will be starting from our 95 up until to our 10. So how many numbers are there? It will be 20 numbers. It's not 20 numbers, it's 18 numbers. It is equal to 90 divided by 5. Okay. So now, if we want that number to be either divisible by 3 or divisible by 5, can we simply add these two numbers up? No, because there are repetition. Remember that there are repetition. There are numbers which is both divisible by 5 and divisible by 3. What are these numbers? This number are the number that is divisible by 15. So how many numbers that is divisible by 15? There are in total 6 numbers. So all we need to do is just adding these two numbers up, but subtract the number which is of repetition. So the answer is equal to 30 plus our 18 minus the repeating 6 of them, and hence our answer will be equal to 42. So 42 is our answer for 17, for question 17. Okay.
Okay.
Now for question 18. Now for question 18, what's the small 3-digit number that is divisible by 5 and 7? Now, unlike question 17, in this time we need to find a number that is divisible by both 5 and 7. But then that means that it must be divisible by 35. So all we need to do is find the smallest 3-digit number that is divisible by 35. But so, what does it mean? It must be a multiple of 35. It must be a multiple of 35. Now, the multiple of 35 is we can simply lease all this number out, right? We can simply lease off this number out. It will be 35, and then 17, and then 105, 140, and so on and so forth. Now, so what's the smallest 3-digit number? The smallest 3-digit number is simply 105. Okay, the source number is simply 105. Okay, so this is our answer for question 18. Our answer for question 18. Okay, good, wonderful. So now we will proceed to our next part. Which is our geometry. Oh, so is there any questions?
Wait, teacher.
Excuse me, what
answer of 80?
What's the answer of 18? 105. Answer. I have marked it by our red rectangle, right?
Right.
105.
Okay.
Like when you record this lesson, then where you would put it? So first I'll watch it again.
Oh, now this lesson is recorded, and you may ask for the copies of it. Okay, so you can later watch it again. Okay, so let's go to our question 19. The area of the rectangle is 150. Now, what is the area? How to calculate the area of a rectangle? An area of a rectangle is always equal to its length times its width, okay? If the size of the rectangle is integer, how many different values of the parameters are there? So in here, what it wants to ask is how many different ways can you have for the length and width such that they multiply to 150, okay? For each different pairs of length and width, they will have a different parameter, okay? So how many different ways can you write this? How many different ways can you write this? Now, because our number is 150, our 150, and we can rewrite it as 2 times 3 times 5 squared. So how many different ways can you write? Excuse me, is there any question?
Lấy music là sao? Lấy music.
Could you please stop drawing on the screen?
No. Lấy music.
Then I'm afraid that I need to kick you out.
Stop singing. Cô bảo tôi biết cậu hát hay rồi nhưng cậu tắt mic.
Now,
Hay quá, tắt mic đi.
Drawing, please.
could you please stop drawing, please?
Stop drawing.
Nào. Tắt mic. Cô bạn tắt mic đi bạn ơi.
Tắt mic, bạn hát hay nhưng mà tắt mic đi.
Tắt mic đi. Tắt mic. Tắt mic đi. Tắt mic đi. Tắt rồi. Tắt rồi.
I'm sorry, you are wasting all people's time here.
Teacher, can we down the bed?
I'm finding a way to kick him out.
Teacher,
Can I go to the bathroom?
Yes,
Teacher,
yes, sure.
the lesson. Can you continue the lesson?
Yes, I would like to, but unless I find a way to stop him from drawing.
No practice.
You have to close
Disable
up
the annotate part.
new options tab and just stop the annotation. There might be something. Because when I go, there is an option to annotate. So I can stop. Or you can erase it.
Ủa mình chấm chấm chấm.
I can't.
Vietnam. Vietnam. Make.
I want to.
I'm sorry because I need to get.
Just annotate. Let's try.
Yes.
Can you kick? Can you teacher? Can you ban the guys drawing in the screen?
Yes, I'm
Can you,
doing, but because there are so many.
Teacher, teacher, disable annotation.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. Disable annotation. I think that's what it's called. You think it's called annotation, teacher?
Now, as I've told you, I will kick out all people that was drawing. I've just kicked out one, and if you keep drawing, then I will kick you out too. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay,
let's go back into this lessons. So in here, we need to find the different ways for us to we need to find a different way for us to write the multiplication. Excuse me, could you please stop talking?
Turn off your mic.
D. Hát cái gì bật mic à?
What I don't understand anymore.
Okay, so now let's go back to our questions. Because now this is 150, and this is equals to 2 times 3 times 5 times 5. Okay, so now how can we rewrite this? We can write it as 1 times 150, and that, or we can write it as 2 times 75, and so on. Now, how many ways can we write it? Now, let us list them all out. Let us list them all out. We can write it as 1 times
50.
When 1 times 50, 2 times 75, 3 times 50, and then we can have a 5 times 30, and then we'll go to 6 times 25, and then we have our 10 times 15, and that's it. That's all the different ways of writing this multiplication. That is all the ways that we can write the multiplication. We can only write this in this 6 ways. So how many different ways can we write it? There are 6 different ways.
6 different value.
Okay, so this is our answer for question 19, 6 different ways. Because every different way of writing, it will have a different parameter. Okay. So let's go to our question 20. How many rectangles are there in the figures below that contains our stars? Now, notice now this question is difficult. All we need to do to finish this question is to consider what is a rectangle. A rectangle consists of 4 different sizes. One is on its left, one is on its right, one is on its top, and one is on its bottom, right? Now, in order for it to contain our stars, for example, let's look at the one in our top. Let's look at the one in our top. The one in our top, notice that the top one can only have 2 different choices. Why? Because the top one cannot be lower than our stars. Otherwise, the rectangle will not contain our stars. And now this is for our top one. This is for our top one. Our top one can only be chosen to these 2 questions. Yes, what's your question?
Yeah.
What's your question?
So what is the answer of 19?
What's the answer of 19? This is 6. And now let us go back into our discussion of our bottom size. So for our bottom size, because it must be lower than our stars, so you can see that there are only 4 different choices for our lower size. So there are only 4 of them. For our left size, because it must be on the left of our size, so there's only 2 different ways of writing of choosing our left sizes, and hence there are only 2. And finally, for our right size, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 different ways to choose our size, and hence our answer will be equals to 4. So because they are, let me write it down on our left. There are 2 ways for our top size, 4 ways for the bottom, let me, and then 2 ways for our left and 4 ways for our right. So how many ways in total? By multiply them up, right? So in total, there will be 2 times 4 times 2 times 4, which is equal to 64. So this is the number, this is the answer for this question. Okay. So let's go to our next question, 21. Question number 21. For question number 21, is know that the length of the shorter sides of the right angle triangles is 15 and 8 respectively. Find the length of the longest side. Now this requires a very important theorem, which is called a Pythagoras theorem. The Pythagoras theorem says the following. This says that now if we have a right angle triangle with 2 sides, A and B, and its longest side, which we called it as C, the Pythagoras theorem says that the square of C times C, is equals to A times A plus our B times B. So by using this, we know that the longest side C in here, it is equals to, because our A and B are our 15 and 8 respectively, right? So our C times C, our longest side times itself, is equals to 15 times 15 plus our 8 times 8. So what is our answer? 15 times 15 is equals to 225. 8 times 8 is equals to 64, and hence it will be equals to 22849, but this is equal to 17 times 17. So our longest side C is equal to 17. So this is the answer of question 21. This is the answer of our question 21. Our longest side is exactly equals to 17. Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you. Yes, I've typed the Pythagoras wrong. Okay, this is, yeah, I'm very sorry about this. The true name is Pythagoras. I don't know why I typed Pythagoras.
Or Pythagorean.
Okay.
That also.
Yeah.
Pythagorean is another one.
Okay, so let's go to our question 22. Let's go to our question 22. 16 small square whose perimeter is 20 form a larger square. So what is a, now let us think about this part. 16 small square. Now the perimeter is not important. The most important part is 16 square form a larger square. How can we make 16 square form a larger square? This must be look like this.
16 and 1.
4 by 4, yes, 4 by 4. So this would be look something like this. So this would be a 4 by 4 square. Okay. Now, but we all know that this one of the small one is exactly the one whose perimeter is 20. Well, because this parameter, what's the parameter of the small rectangle? This will be 4 times its size, right? It is equal to 20. So in other words, which means that the size of it, the smaller square must be equal to 5. So this one is equal to 5. But this is also equal to 5. This is also equal to 5. This is also equal to 5. So in total, they are of the size 20? So we know that because also our larger square have a size of 20. So what's the parameter of our larger square?
80.
Yes, 80, because it will be equal to 4 times its size. So it will be equal to 4 times 20 and hence equal to 80. Now, of course, this is not the only way that you can do this like this. You can also say that because it will be enlarged, all the sizes enlarged by 4. So the parameter is also enlarged by 4. So you can immediately multiply this one by 4, and then you will get our answer. You can multiply this one by 4, and then you will immediately get our answer. And this is also another method of doing this. Okay, so let's look at question 23. Let's look at question 23. How many right angle triangles are there in our diagram? How many right angle triangles are there in diagram? Now there are many. There are many. So let us start from the smallest one. The one now again we will count it by the number of triangle, by the number of area. Count by area also to speak. So we have this one, this triangle, 1, and then we have our 2 right next to it, 3, 4,
5, 6.
5, 6. Now, but this is only for the area
1 and 2, 1 and 2, 9. 1 and 2, 5 and 6.
Area 1, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6 of them. But how about area 2? Now, what do you mean by area 2? Is
1 and 2,
like this.
5 and 6.
It will be this one, 1, right? This would be 2.
2.
And do we have anything more? No.
Yes,
a big one.
No.
Yes.
The biggest one.
No. Wow. The biggest
Area of 2 is equal to only 2 of them. Okay. So, and then we will go on to look about well, if there's a triangle which consists of 3 different areas. Now there's no area 3.
9.
But how about area 4? 4 triangles combine together to form a, still no, the final right angle triangle is this one, which is of area 6. So we know that in total it will be have 1 plus 2 plus 6. So in total it will be equals to 7.
9.
Oh, no, it will be equals to 9. Yes. Okay. So this is our question number 23. This is our question number 23. Okay, so let's go on to question number 24. A rectangle have a perimeter of 96. If the length and the width of a rectangle are both integer, what is the maximum possible area among that rectangle? Now again, a perimeter, what is a perimeter? A perimeter is equals to is length plus its width. So it will be equal to 96. Now remember, a parameter is the sum of a number. A parameter is the sum. So now what do we want to ask? What we want is the area. What is an area? An area is equal to its length times its width, which is, now is something that we don't know, but this is of the product. So in here, what we ask is that if the sum is constant, what is the maximum value of its product? And in here, we need to invoke a very important mathematical theory, is that if the sum is the same, then the product is maximum when the two numbers the two numbers are closest to each other. Now I repeat one more time. If the sum is the same, the product is maximum when two numbers closest to each other. So when will this number be closer to each other? It will form if and only if the length and the width are almost equal. Or in this case, no, this is not length of the width. This is length and the width times 2. Okay. It's length and the width times 2. But the logic follows, right? The sum is also equals to this, the length plus our width is equals to 48. But if we want the product to be the maximum, they need to be as close to each other as possible, which makes it both equals to 24, right? They want to be closest. So in here, we know that the maximum is when these two are both 24. So our answer will be equal to 24 times 24. And hence what our answer is equals to
307.
It should be 24 times 24 is 576. Okay, but hence 576 is our answer. Okay. So this is the question of question 24. This is the answer of question 24. Okay. So let's go on to the final part of this.
Says it's a rectangle.
Excuse me, what?
Number 24 says it's a rectangle. So why is it 24 times 24? That's a square.
But a rectangle, a square is a rectangle. A square is a rectangle, right?
Wait.
Okay, so now let's go to
square is a rectangle.
A square is a rectangle. Okay, a rectangle is all the shape that it four interior angles are all right angle. A square is obviously having small 4 angles being right angle, so it is a rectangle. Now in question 25, it's given that the total weight of 2 keyboards and 2 mouse is 1,000, and the weight of the keyboard is the same as that 4 of the mouse was the weight of 1 keyboard. Now this is just the same as, now remember that we have done a very similar question before. We have done for question 25, please refer back to our questions in question 13. Now, please look back at question 13. Question 13 is just the same as our question 25. Okay, so let's go back to our question 25. All we need to do in terms of the weight of the mouse. So again, please, for this question, please look back into question 15. No, question 13. Okay. Now, again, let us rewrite this. The weight of our keyboard is the same as of the 4 mouse. So our keyboard K is equal to 4 mouse. Okay. So now what is the question in here? Is 2 keyboard plus 2 mouse is equals to 1,000. Okay. So we know that 2 keyboard plus 2 mouse is equal to 1,000. But what is 2 keyboard? 2 keyboard is 8 mouse, right? So 8 mouse plus 2 mouse, it is equals to 10 mouse. It is equals to 1,000. So what is the weight of the mouse? The weight of the mouse is equals to 100, right? So once we know the weight of the mouse is 100, we already know what's the weight of the keyboard. The keyboard is of 4 times of it, and hence it will be equal to 400. Okay, so our answer, the weight of the keyboard is 400. So for our question 26, 154 water bottles are either in bottle A in box A, B, C, or D. Okay, if each box contains at least one bottle, in the boxes of most bottle, how many boxes will it have? How many water bottles will it have at least? Okay, so how can we find out how many bottles are there at least? It must happen when it is distributed as even as possible, right? This can only be true if it has the least number of bottles, if they are distributed as even as possible. But how can we divide this 134 as even as possible? So if we divide this 134 as even as possible, we need to divide it by 4. Unfortunately, it cannot be divided by 4, but it can be very close to 4. It can be separated into 33 and 34, right? So what is the box with the most bottle? It must be 34, right? Because this is already as even as possible. Anything that makes it uneven, the one which is have the most number of bottles will get higher. Okay, so this is question 26. Now let's go to question 27. And I'm sorry, because we still have some questions left. So the lessons will have a 5 minutes or 5 to 7 minutes delay. For question 27, how many 3-digit numbers such that the number does not contain 0, 3, and 9? Now, notice that this must be an odd number. Because this is a 3-digit number. Now let us write down a 3-digit number. Now let's ask how many numbers can we get? What numbers can we write in each set of this number? Now, because it's a 3-digit number. Now, notice that because for our unit digit, for our last digit, it must be an odd number. So it means that it can only write 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. But it does not contain 3, nor it contain 9. So it can only be 1, 5, or 7. Okay. So for our second digit, now it can be any digit other than 0, 3, and 9. So it can be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Okay. So there are more of them. There are actually 7 of them. But for our first number, again, it will be 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? So we know that for our choices, the first digit have 7 different choices. The second digit have 7 different choices, but the last can only have 3 different choices. Right? So what is the total possible values of these choices? It will be 7 times 7 times 3, and hence our answer is equal to 7 times 21. It will be equal to 147. So 137 is our answer.
Sir, what is the answer of 26? Remember?
What's the answer of 26? The answer of 26 is equal to 34. 34. Okay. So now for question 28, please refer for question 23. I will mark it in here. So please refer back to our question number 6. Now there are a total of 12 chickens and rabbits in this. The animals have in total of 30 legs. Now, in question number 6, we use a graph to solve it. We use a table to solve it, but this time we will use another method. So because they have a 30 legs, right? Now, what if they are all chickens? If they are all chickens, they will have 24 legs, right? So this number, 30 minus 26, this will be equal to 6. This is the
Mày không làm được, mày phải chép ra chứ. Sau này ai dạy lại cho mày được?
number of legs in excess. Now this is something excess, more than pure than all chicken. Okay. Now, but because we know that we need to, whenever we exchange a chicken to a rabbit, it will have 2 more legs. So we know that by this, if we divide it by 2, then it will get the number of rabbits. It must be equals to 3.
3.
Right? Because we know that whenever we exchange one of the rabbits and one of the chickens into rabbits, it will be the number of legs will be increased by 2. It's just the same logic as question number 6. Okay, so we divide it more and then we will get our answer. Okay, now let's finish question 9 as for now. If we anyway want to go to point A to B, we can only move up or right. So in here we just count it by hand. So in here, if from our bottom left corner, so it will go to the places on top of it. There's only one way of doing this. There's only one way of doing this. There's only one way of doing this, and so on. We just count it by hand. Now notice that for this one, there are 2 ways of going this. You can come from the bottom, or you can come from our left. Okay, there's 2. And again, for this one, you can come from our bottom or come from left. So this one will be equals to 3. So we can finish this by building up all the numbers in here. So this will be 6, this will be 10, this will be equals to 4, and this will be equals to 10. This will be equals to 20.
Teachers, it says on the top, somebody would finish the class in any minute now.
Yes. So finally, we will get our answer, which is equals to our 30. Okay? It will equals our 30. This is our question 29. This is our question 29. Okay? And finally, let's go to our last one. Now, our last question is again, there's seven steps. We just keep on counting. Now this is our first, and then our second, and then our third, and so on. And 5th, and 6th.
Where is the question?
Question 29? No, this is question 30.
I don't see.
Okay, so now let me rewrite. Now this is our question. Question 30. Now we go from our first step to our 7th step, and then we count it by hand, right? In here we know that for our first step, if there's only one way of doing this, for our second step, now for our second step, you must come from our first to our second. There's only one way of doing this, but for our third, there are 2 ways of doing this. Why? Because you can come from the very bottom, or you are coming from our second step. So both of them will have either adding this one and then this one.
It should be 3 ways.
And for our fourth, it must be from
3.
Yes, it must be 3. So this is actually 3.
7.
Yes.
So no,
So
the first one, the third one is
first,
7.
No, 3.
Third one is 3.
and for our 5th. So we can keep on counting it. So for our 5th, it must be 1 plus 3, and 4. It is equal to 4. And then for this 2 plus 4 is equal to 6. And finally for our 7, it will be 4 plus 6 equals to 9. So answer for our question 13 is 9.
It's 9. It's 9.
Okay.
Nine.
So
It's 9.
this is the end of this paper. Thank you very much for attendance, and I wish you have a wonderful holiday, wonderful Sunday, and this is the end of this lesson. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.